Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining the webinar today and making time amidst your busy schedule. So we'll just wait for another minute before we begin the presentation for all the attendees to join. Meanwhile, I'll just quickly run by a few pointers for all our attendees. All participants will be on mute except for panelists until the Q&A section. Participants can also ask questions during the presentation by typing them in the Q&A section. So there is a couple of participant polls. We request everyone to participate. Webinar slides have already been published online. Webinar is being recorded and will be published online by next week. We have also disabled everyone's video to minimize lag in audio and the slides. In case you're still facing bandwidth issues, we are also streaming this webinar live on YouTube. The link is mentioned in the chat box. So welcome once again. I'll just start by introducing our panel members. Our first panel member is Achal. Achal has over 5 years of experience in the drone industry and has been actively involved in project development, marketing, design, and business development. As a part of the leadership team at FlytBase, Achal has been working with several customers across the globe to provide autonomous drone-based solutions for various applications. And our second panelist is Curtis. He is a mechanical engineer from Miami who studied at the Georgia Institute of Technology. He started Hextronics in early 2020 and has been refining the design of battery exchanging drone stations ever since. So welcome to the panel members. I will ask Achal to take it forward from here.
Hi everyone, this is Achal from FlytBase. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who is joining from around the globe. Thank you for taking time on Friday. So my name is Achal. I head business development at FlytBase and being the part of the product team, where I would be leading this webinar with the help of Curtis here to talk about how drones can be leveraged in security vertical. So we understand that there are several use cases where drones could be fully automated, right? Starting from security surveillance, survey operations, emergency response, deliveries, asset inspections, etc. So the course of this webinar, we will be focusing on the security, aerial security aspect, where we'll be talking about how we can leverage multiple components which are available in the market to integrate them together tightly to build an autonomous solution. So just to help you with the outline of the webinar, we would be setting the context first, talking about major use cases under security, followed by a FlytNow security demo. So we would be talking about scenarios, the technical challenges. We'll be introducing what is Wintel model in drones, right? So we'll be talking about that soon. Then our partner Hextronics will be talking about how their platform can be leveraged to completely automate off-the-shelf drones. And as I said, we would then move to a demo where we'll be showing the solution in action. After that, we would be opening up for Q&A to take questions on the technology part, software, hardware, etc. As Vaishali mentioned, there would be participant polls in between where we would be getting some insights from you to understand what are your views, what do you think about technology, market, etc. So talking about deployment scenarios in security use case, there are two use cases that emerge specifically in the security domain. What we'll do is we'll first take a quick poll here just to understand what kind of audience do we have here. So I'll just pause and request Vaishali to put our first poll, and we'll just wait for say 10 seconds to understand who are there on the webinar today. Okay, we'll be closing next 5 seconds. Okay, do we have the results? Sure. Okay, so here are the results. So apart from the security verticals, we have audience who is fairly, this is very common, where you have public safety, asset inspection, aerial surveys, agriculture, and there are 28% audience who is only looking for security surveillance. Okay, right. And yeah, so as expected, most of the audience are segregated into manual, semi-autonomous, where they are flying waypoint missions, and there are few people in audience who are working or deploying automated solutions. So talking about scenarios here, right? So deploying drones for automated patrols, where drones can fly completely autonomous. The first thing that comes to the mind is the site security. And the generic requirement that has come from the industry, where you're talking about big oil and gas sites or construction sites, country clubs, all are looking to fly patrol mission, where instead of deploying somebody in a car and drive around for a patrolling, they would like to deploy drones for continuous patrolling. So what is the generic requirement in the use case that has emerged is a complete solution where they can deploy a fleet of drones and fly automated missions around the site. These missions can be pre-scheduled for repeated missions. So in a nutshell, they're looking for something where they can just set everything for a daily schedule, and drones can take off from a drone in the box or a charging pad and go around the site to capture all the data. And you have all that being streamed to the command and control center, which is already present, where they have their CCTV footage, alarm monitoring center, etc., and video management system setup. The second use case that emerges when we talk about security is the threat response. So patrolling is one, but then you would have to respond to that action. And in most of the time, the delay of the response causes the damage. So the second one, the autonomous threat response, where you can integrate drones with existing security system and deploy them on a threat or alarm or a motion detection. So this requires a platform approach where you can integrate your existing security solution or a customer client's security solution with drones already. So they already have systems like Milestone, Access, etc., where that they have been using them for many years, and now they are already trained on that. Their other systems run on that. They need a system where they can integrate it. Now you need a system which can be tightly integrated, and as soon as there is a threat detected around the perimeter or inside the site, you can deploy the drone to that GPS site and get live footage and take action. Of course, things go along the way where people are looking for detection through AI, using track and follow, so you can also follow the object or a car or a person as demonstrated in the slide. So talking about automation, what are we looking at? We are looking at two aspects. One is the scalability, other is availability, where you're looking to deploy a fleet of drones so you can cover the large area or blind spot. You're looking for to improve your visibility during the night time, so you can use IR and thermal cameras where your generic CCTVs or cameras cannot cover. Then you're talking about the availability, where you can deploy drones 24/7, where you don't have to deploy, say, in the night time, so not so many people, where you can easily deploy drones on demand 24/7, 365 days. Let's open up a quick thing here, so we can have a quick question.
So we have a question from Ben. He's asking if there's a system that can be deployed on a moving platform like vessel security.
Right. Sure. So that requires, again, the whole system setup is same. We would need a system where drones can come and precisely land on a moving object. So like FlytBase have been working with few customers who are already working on the custom drones, and they would like to deploy it on vessels. So you need a system where, so rest of the component remain the same, but the critical component that should be present to precisely land on that particular vessel. So you can deploy the box, you can deploy the drone, but you would need the moving precision landing part to achieve that. So of course that is possible. Connectivity is another component that would come in that scenario, where you would either need a local network or rely on systems where you can manage them over a local network or a standard telemetry, or if you have a LTE access that can be managed. So it is very specific use case and would depend on the exact scenario. Moving forward, let's talk about what are the key components here in the drone automation space. So we're looking at three core components. One is, of course, you need a reliable drone hardware to get started. We're talking about drones. So you need a system which has been flown for multiple flight hours, right? At the end, it's an aircraft. The more flight hours has been put into that system, it's more reliable. You can rely on that when you're deploying that system. You need a docking station, which is a low cost, right? There could be docking stations which are really expensive in that front and could not actually get into the stage where you can deploy it in your, say, residential security or golf courts or country yards, or it could be construction sites, right? So you need an efficient system which is inexpensive, so you can deploy multiple of those at your site. And then to automate all these things, you need a complete software where you need an intelligent edge as well as a cloud software where you can automate drones to precisely land on the box, control them remotely, have integration with the drone in the box to operate that complete fleet. So the cloud software could go into multiple domains in terms of integrations and different things, but these are the three components that you would need from the technical standpoint. So let's talk about the current scenario. So there are solutions already available in the market where we're talking about autonomous drones for security, right? The major autonomous systems currently available where companies have built a solution in-house where they have their custom drone, their box, their software, etc. Right. So that is what the current approach is. And there are now players in market who have been deploying these solutions for various large customers. But then there is a segment of market who is looking for much more configurable system where they understand that there are low cost drones available in the market. There is software available in bits and pieces here. They need all the components to be integrated tightly. So that is where the current problem arises. So all these systems which are available in the market are highly expensive and have complex setup, right? There is a lack of interoperability where you cannot have different kind of drones. It is not agnostic in terms of I want a different setup. I am in a region where it snows heavily. I would need a system where it can be temperature control. It has certain kind of IP rating. Uh, I need to work. Sometimes I need to deploy a smaller drone. Sometimes I need a big payload to be deployed for that camera, or I need a drone which can fly in rain. So things could vary out there. The other problem is the lack of automation software, where if you are building your drones or taking an off-the-shelf drone, there is a lack of automation software availability where you cannot have automated entirely. You need critical components, which could be heavy in terms of using computer vision, robotics, as well as reliable connectivity to build that complete system. And of course, building all of these, you have high turnaround and lead time when you are continuously building. You could invest in the system, but unless it's completely reliable, it would be very difficult to deploy that for the customer. So that is where let's introduce a concept. So as the slide says, the Ventil model of drones for security. So like if you go back to 1980s, right, there was a chaos and incompatibility that was rife in early microcomputer market. that had given way to a smaller number of de facto industry standards, right? So a lot of systems were there coming to picture by Apple where there was integrated, and they would have a very specific feature set. But there was no single firm that controlled the industry, and fierce competition ensured that innovation in both hardware and software was the rule rather than the exception. That is where Microsoft Windows and Intel processor gained popularity, and their ongoing alliance gave them the market dominance. So Intel claimed that this partnership has enabled the two companies to give customers the benefit of a seemingly unending spiral of falling prices and rising performance. So in addition, they claim this has been the history of innovation and that shared vision of flexible computing for the agile business. So uh, how would a Wintel model look like in our drone industry, right? So let's draw parallels and see this diagram. So when you look at your computers, you have your laptop manufacturers, you have processors on which those laptops are built, and then you have a complete operating system. On top of that, you also have applications which could run across multiple hardware. Going forward, for these applications, you would need a system where you can do pretty much the same. You need to choose the right hardware that would be required for that application. You need the right docking station for again, that use case. And then you need a complete software platform, right? Where you not only can use the standard solutions that are available in software platform, but build things on top of it and integrate applications and other existing business applications on top of it. So what's the benefits of Wintel model? So first is using extremely safe and stable off-the-shelf drones, which have been again flown for multiple flight hours and have been tested across geographies and are easily available. Then talking about integrating technologies from the industry leaders in respective domains, right? As we said, there are already existing leaders in security video management systems which have been deployed. There are alarm systems, motion detection systems which are deployed already. So you can integrate all of this together and get higher ROI in that terms, and customer could benefit more on that. Now, going to the, okay, let's take a quick poll here. So let's talk about the hardware. So if you look at off-the-shelf hardware or maybe using a big SOC, what hardware are you using? And if you're looking at a security market or a first response, emergency response market, what drone hardware are you looking at? So first question is regarding the drone hardware. And second question is, are you building any of the following hardware in-house? Let's wrap this up in the next 5 seconds. Okay, can we have the answers? Great, so 39% of the audience is using DJI Mavic 2, pretty off the shelf. There is low-cost drones option available like DJI Mavic Mini, then the Matrix. Inafi is there. Autel is gaining the adoption, and of course the PX4 autopilot. There is a big community where which are building drones using Pixoc or the Cube autopilot. And looking at the hardware, yes, drone hardware is being built. Some companies are building dock stations, charging pad, and some companies are building everything together. Great. Right. So we've just listed out few drones which are already available in the market. Talking about other drones are gaining traction. So DJI Mavic, again, it's a popular drone, right, which is being used quite heavily already in the public safety domain. It gives you options regarding the thermal cameras, payload, etc. And AFI is getting attention where you can use Navi USA or Parrot Navi series for deploying these operations. You would need, of course, the critical component to automate it. And then, of course, you have Pixoc or the cube-based drones, where you can completely have the flexibility of being a VTOL system or a multi-rotor deployed with the components that you need. Great. With this, I would just like to transition and welcome Kurt on the call. Kurt.
Hello. Thank you, Ashal.
Right. And I would request you to take over from here and talk about the second component, which is very critical, the drone in the box station.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Ashal, Baisali, and FlytNow for putting this together. We're Hextronics. We make drone in a box stations. And let's get into it. The main problem that we're solving is battery life, and obviously landing down on a platform or manually charging the battery for an hour and a half takes up a lot of time, especially when you want to have around-the-clock security. So we come in and we swap your batteries with a robot. You can go to the next slide. And this is our initial unit, the Hextronics 1. And so we're currently working with the DJI Mavic 2 series because it's so versatile. It has, of course, the Mavic 2 Zoom, the Pro, the Enterprise. It's got them all for whatever the customer wants. And so, of course, we swap batteries, and it's very simple what our station has to do. We have to be very resistive to the weather, ideally an IP rating of 66. And also we have to operate in outdoor conditions that can get to the extremes between 0 degrees to 100 degrees Fahrenheit is what we're saying for now. And the main benefit of our system, of course, is minimizing downtime. We provide a home for the drone, and we swap its batteries in less than 5 minutes through robotic exchange. And we can go into further details of what the system has within its specifications. So this is the internal range of how essentially the inside of the unit will always stay within this range. So the drone, the hardware, the computers, if they can exist within this range, great. If not, we can change the range for sure. Our communication, we have 4G LTE, a router built in, and that comes with the service of the unit. And that essentially enables you to operate the drone from anywhere in the world, of course, all through tunnels in the network so that it's all secure. We are awaiting ingress protection and UL certification, of course, because this is a very new technology. And so the dimensions of our unit is something like within a cubic meter. So not too much space, and it increases when it opens. You'll see that. And obviously you can see the rest of the specifications below. However, the supported drones, right now we're focused on the Mavic 2. However, the Parrot Anafi is coming soon because we find the whole Parrot and the Anafi product to be spectacular, especially how the camera moves. And also we want to be diverse in the drone providers that we work with. And so you'll see as we have the main components of the base unit of the Hextronics 1, of course, the weatherproof station, the robotic arm assembly, the LTE service, and then the internal processing units and flight controller. Yep, okay, you got it. That's in the next one too. And so we're also working to whatever our customers want, we can accommodate. We build for our customers, and right now we are focused on these drones because they're the easiest to integrate with, especially their battery pack mechanism. And you'll see in the video later, but their battery mechanism is something that can be easily done with a robot, and that's what we do. So that's why we focused on these two drones. And then, of course, the battery capacity is customizable. So the more batteries you have in your unit and the more charging stations you have mean that essentially you can have the least amount of service as possible, because obviously batteries degrade over time. The DJI Mavic 2 battery is rated for about 500 cycles, and that'll last you maybe a month or so. And so our idea is having many batteries in a unit so that they degrade less over time and they distribute the force that's done on the drone itself. And as you saw on the units and the images, we do have the capability for a solar package to be included. And through our calculations and some of our testing, It has proven reliable because it generates about 400 watt hours of power in a single day, and that should be enough to power the unit. However, we're doing some more extensive testing with our solar package coming up. And of course, we'll be able to accommodate for any battery backup needed for the unit. If you want to go completely off the grid for a couple of hours, that's fine with us. And we also have the capacity to add some other source of power. And so, of course, we can also do any kind of paint job or any kind of mounting mechanisms. We also are not adverse to having mounts to the bed of a truck or to a trailer to ease in transportivity. But really, we're looking to hear from our customers. And so if you go to our website, you can reserve a unit before, which will give you an access to a week before it comes out. You can place an order, and that will give you the capability to meet with us so that we can design specifically for you and your use case. We really want to hear what you guys are looking for. All right, I'll pass it back to you, and then we'll go back over the video together.
Sure. Thank you, Kurt, for that detailed specifications and talking about your product. So for the audience, feel free to put your questions regarding the hardware. We will be taking them at the end of the webinar, at the end of the presentation. Okay, so moving forward, let's talk about the third component, which is software, right? So this is where this is the piece which would tie the complete hardware together for the automated operations. So the first part that we're going to talk about is the dashboard, the hub, where you manage your complete drone operations. So the FlytNow hub component enables you to deploy drones, manage them, as well as get their live telemetry video feed right on the screen over 4G to 5G. So this is the dashboard which can help you deploy applications really quick. For companies who are building their complete system, they can leverage our APIs to build their own dashboards. So they can leverage video SDK and APIs where you can access videos over WebRTC, RTSP, and different protocols to deploy complete systems, design your own dashboard, and own that customer experience. There could be part where you wish to integrate with existing video management system, as we've been talking about at the start of the webinar, where you can do milestone integration, you can have different kind of integrations to completely provide an end-to-end workflow. So APIs are available for video, for telemetry data, for mission planning, precision landing, everything. We would be having a webinar soon on that, where we will be talking extensively and taking a deep dive about the FlytNow API platform. Moving forward with the components, again, look at this. Let's look at the complete picture and the software components that are required. So we spoke about one, which is the FlytNow hub, where it could be the standard dashboard, your dashboard, where you manage the complete operations. You need the edge modules where you can connect the drone from the ground station to the cloud. So you can connect. So different drones would have different connectivity. This is for the presentation purpose, but drones can be connected either to the onboard computer or a SBC on the ground to the internet and live stream the data anywhere in the world to your base station or LTE. The third component is precision landing, which is really critical. This is very different from the standard precision landing that could come and you can compare with DJI drone. But this is something where you use the onboard camera and a ground marker to precisely land the drone on the box with a centimeter level accuracy. You need to have the right orientation. So it ensures that you need to have fail safes and recovery algorithms. So in case of the tag is lost or there is problem with something, you need all those fail-safe mechanisms. And of course, you need integration with the drone in the box. So like with Hextronics, we've been building very tight integrations where you can not only control the box, you can completely automate it. So at the launch of the pre-scheduled missions, the box could open autonomously, drone would take off, box would close, drone would do the mission, come back, the box would open and will land for the battery swap. So these are the core components which are required from the software piece, and this is something which is already included in the FlytNow platform. And of course, there are, again, APIs for everything. So if you're building your own solution, that can be integrated as well. So talking about key features, right, and this gives a quick overview. We're talking about fleet management, where you can completely have multiple fleet of drones, which is agnostic. So you could have a DJI, you could have a Parrot, you could have a Pixar drone, Cube drone in a single dashboard. You can manage that. You can remote control them, right, where you have the control integration in terms of keyboard and mouse control, integrating a joystick to control it. You can schedule and plan automated missions. You can stream live video telemetry as we spoke. You can share it with third-party users who do not have the account, who can just get a link and guest users can take a look, as well as you can integrate thermal cameras with it. Additional capabilities are as follows, where video archiving. So FlytNow provides video archiving on a private cloud as well. You could have your own AWS S3 or Azure storage, where video can be directly stored on a private cloud. So depending upon the regulations in that area, the data can be directly stored on your private server, right? You can integrate things like loudspeaker spotlight. Specifically, they come with drones like DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise, where you can speak through the dashboard and broadcast a message. You can have a complete logs. You can annotate on map, and of course, geofences, where you can create geofences for every drone. So you stay in that particular area. So this is where I would ask her to come on board again. So let's take a look at this quick video.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So we shot this video yesterday, so to demonstrate the complete system, and it shows how the complete system can be working with the complete DJI Mavic drone together. So let me just buffer this and share my screen as further. Hope my screen is visible.
Yep, all good.
So as we're going, we see the FlytNow dashboard. The drone is already set. We had a quick checklist here where we filled the checklist. The drone is sitting in the box. You can see the live location of the drone here. You can see the telemetry on the left, and you can see the drone taking off. And as the drone took off, you can see the live video feed. Of course, you have sped it up so we can do this demo really quick, but you get the essence where you can see live telemetry, video, you have a zoom control, you can set waypoint actions. So every waypoint, you can have a specific action for the drone, for the gimbal camera. You can pause a mission anywhere and take a control from the dashboard, the mouse. Now, in the video, you would see that how drone would now look down. The box is already opening at the bottom. You get the notification, and now the precision landing would trigger. So the drone is aligning here and precisely landing on the box.
Correct. And our box can work with precision landing as long as it lands within an error bounds of 9 centimeters. And so we have some space to work with. And of course, we can make the box larger in order to accommodate for more error and also for larger drones.
Great. So, Kurt, maybe you want to talk about this swapping mechanism.
And so then this is what happens inside the box. We have a robot arm that finds the drone internally, turns it off, takes the battery pack out, puts it into charge, grabs a new one, and then puts it inside the drone and turns it on. And of course, this can be changed from the software in any way to basically say, hey, the drone's done flying now. But in this case, the drone's ready to go back in 5 minutes. And of course, you see in this option, there is no solar panel. And so solar panels are not required. They're just an add-on feature.
Great. So as you just saw, that complete system can be automated using these components. And we took off the shelf drone. We have the Hextronics box and FlytNow software to completely automate the security operations. With this, let's move on to Q&As. So I'll open it up where we can take Vaishali's help to get some questions on this. And Kurt and I would be happy to answer those.
Yes, sure. We can get started with the Q&A.
Vaishali, are you there? You need to unmute.
Am I audible?
Yep.
Great. So we can get started with the Q&A section. So the first question I think we can ask Kurt, one of our audience members have asked this, is changing the batteries time to time the best way to maintain continuous surveillance? Kurt, if you want to take that answer.
Sure. Yeah, well, there are solutions out there that say that they can rapidly charge batteries in 5 minutes, but we believe that that does not help long term with the lifetime of the battery pack. And what our system does is it takes care of the batteries, so the drone is reliable and flying with good quality flight. And for round the clock surveillance, if you just had 2 of these boxes, they would be able to automatically swap with each other in the air, and you would literally never lose visuals. Of course, that is a solution that we're working on, and however, our focus is right now on the single station, which would have minimal interruptions of simply 5 minutes.
Thank you, Kurt. I think the second question we can ask Achal, what is the smallest drone that your software solution can be used with?
Sorry, I'm just finding some trouble to unmute myself. Thank you for that question, Vaishali. So currently, a lot of smallest drones are coming to the market. The solutions which are already compatible, as we saw, is the DJI Mavic 2 series. We are closely working on the solutions to even automate drones like DJI Mavic Mini, which are under 249, 250 grams. So these are the small drones, and of course, Anafi is again the smaller drone which is available in the market.
Another question from the software side. So do we need the remote controller of the drone, or can you connect it directly to the drone for a DJI Mavic?
Right. So this is where maybe Kurt can also answer that question. We are building that close integration where that controller can be integrated with the drone in the box hardware. So right now, the only way to connect the DJI Mavic 2 drone is through the FlytBase protocol, the RC that they have. And that system can be integrated with the box hardware to completely put it in the autonomous mode. For other use cases where you could be flying in line of sight or external line of sight, that the pilot could handle that, but that would be for the semi-autonomous kind of missions. Kurt, if you want to add something to that.
Exactly, yes. We've done this integration now by having the DJI remote controller that comes with the DJI to actually be within the unit. We do some modifications to the controller to extend its range. However, that's currently what's available through the DJI SDK, and of course with some other operating systems like Pixhawk or down the line when it does allow for the software package to be downloaded on external hard drives, the integration could be much more seamless then. However, this is just the way that we're doing it now.
Great, Kurt. We also have a few more questions on the hardware. So one question goes, can Hextronics store the drone in case of rain? If it does, would it store more than one drone? And a similar question on that line is, if the drone in a box works in an environment like Malaysia, here the weather is up to 37 degrees Celsius and there are rains as well. So if you want to take that.
Yes, okay. Well, here at Hextronics, we've gone through a few designs to test weather resistance, and this design with the drawer coming out really proves to be the most suited for rain and the environmental conditions. And yes, of course, the box could be capable down the line of storing multiple drones. However, for simplicity, we are focusing on this unit to make it possible and get these units out the door to you guys, to our customers.
I think we're getting a lot of questions with regards to the hardware. Another question is there a built-in power supply for the box's robotic arm? How does it charge, or how long does it last?
Okay, well, currently we have all we need to tie to is just a standard outlet that ranges from 110 to 220 volts AC, just a typical outlet. We have all the power supply and power management within the unit. If we do choose to go with an inboard battery in order to allow for off-the-grid use. That battery could be up to 8 hours of life off the grid, at least for now. And yeah.
Thank you, Kurt, again for sharing this information. I think we can take some question from the software side. So I think Victor has asked, could you explain in more detail how the companion computer connect to the drone network and the cloud at the same time?
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Victor, for that question. So great question. Depends on the drone. So if you use something like a DJI Mavic Mini, you have a single board computer on the ground. So you have something which can run Android. So there are SBCs available, right? Like Odroid N2, Raspberry Pi 4B, where you can install that system, Edge software on it, which would help you automate in terms of precision landing and control. And then you can provide internet access either over your standard cable, Ethernet cable, or you can have a 4G LTE or a 5G module to provide the internet connection. All you need an internet connection at the ground station, at that SBC, and then FlytNow would enable the communication for you, where you can get all the data on the dashboard or through the APIs.
With regard in continuation with that, I think we also have another question. Can we integrate the video stream in our own platform through APIs or iframe?
Yes, thanks for that question. So yes, of course you can. So you have APIs and SDK available, as well as you have iframe available. So you can easily integrate it in your own application or a standard application which accepts anything like WebRTC or RTSP.
I think we are also getting quite a few questions on regulations. So Achal, would you like to share your take on that?
Sure. So this is where we are trying to build a complete community where, as we spoke about the different components, of course, regulations is a question mark. Where what we're doing right now is we are working with a lot of partners on that front who are building a complete safety case. So the idea here is building the components together and working with partners like you who can integrate everything together and build that safety use case. So at the end of it, talking to a lot of companies or partners who provide or help with waivers, they have said that this would require that kind of building that complete safety use case with that data, where we can take it to the regulators and show them, hey, this works, right? You can see our footages, you can look at the system, and we've taken all the precautions to make it safe. We are also working with a lot of UTM providers where we can integrate unmanned traffic management systems into the same platform, so it can be tightly integrated. So again, going on the platform approach, it would allow you to integrate things, and it depends on the geography also, right? So regulations change from geography to geography, but you can integrate those systems like UTM and build a reliable system. So our take on that would be to work closely with us as a partner, and then we would help you build that technology reliably. And we continue to sign up partners on that front which can help you build that case as well as get waivers. So we already have few partners and companies who have got waivers to fly multiple drones, fly for night, fly over people, etc.
Thank you, Achal. I think we have a question for Kurt here. A lot of people are asking about the pricing. So Kurt, would you like to share something on that?
Yeah, sure. So for the Hextronics unit, of course, it comes with the base unit, which is the station itself and the robot arm in it, and then the power supplies and computational units. And of course, the price changes with whatever add-ons or whichever drone that you hope to house in the unit, whether that be the Zoom, the Pro, or the Mavic Enterprise. And right now we're looking to accommodate all of our customers, and we are aiming to be as low cost as possible, below 25,000 for the unit.
Right. And just to give another perspective, the traditional solutions which are available in the market, which have been deploying these systems with their own box and drones, these systems would be 10x cheaper in that range. So you'll have a system under the range that Kurt spoke about. So the customers can actually see the ROI.
I think another question for Achal. Is the software iOS compatible?
Yes, so we have recently released a beta version for the iOS where you can deploy the edge piece on iPhone or iPad and then help you connect the drone to the cloud. If you're looking to get that access, you can go out to the App Store and search for it, or write to us at FlytNow@flytbase.com, and we'd be happy to help you with the steps to get started. We are actively working with close partners and customer to take feedback, and soon would be adding a lot of features in that app to take it to the production.
Thank you, Achal. I think we are also getting a lot of questions on how to become a partner, or do we already have existing partners in multiple geographies? So maybe you would like to talk about the preferred partner program.
Sure. So partners, we Hextronics is a partner already on the call. So we work with partners all across the globe where we can build the system, integrate together. We understand the requirements, the geography, the pricing, drones that you want to use changes from geography. So we have a preferred partner program where we not only jointly work together on the technology, but also on a joint go-to-market where we can closely work on to help end customer with a complete solution. I'll request Shali to drop a quick link to our preferred partner program, which you can take a look at the detail on the website. And that is something that we can also share after the webinar to everyone.
Sure, let me do that. Also, we have a question with regards to the hardware. So a few of them have asked about the size of the hardware. Do you have any thoughts on decreasing the size, Kurt, of the box?
Obviously, yes, we definitely, our aim is to make the box definitely as small as possible. And right now, the reason why our box is so big is because we are working with the DJI Mavic with the propeller guards on, and we really want to be able to store it and have it work with the propeller guards on because of safety reasons. However, when new drones come in and the system becomes possible of accommodating them, the size of the drone really defines the size of the unit. And that's where we're at now.
Sure. We have another question from Andrew, and he's asking, is there any particular reason to use a SCARA robotic arm within Hextronics?
So of course we could use a 6-degree freedom robot arm. However, if the main goal is to keep costs down and lower any possible rates of failure, we want to have the least amount of moving units as possible. And so since the SCARA arm can operate with only 4 degrees of freedom, it can still also accommodate a camera that we can use on the end for visuals on really taking stock of the unit and making sure everything's all right inside. And so that's why we're going with the SCARA arm for now. However, in the future, as the drones get more complicated and our station gets more sophisticated, we will probably move to a 6-degree of freedom robot arm. However, this station will be SCARA.
Thank you, Kurt. I think we have one other question. So how much of technical integration would be needed from the customer? Is it possible to acquire a complete solution that would require minimal technical capability? I think you can start and then Achal can continue with regards to the software.
Sure. Yeah. So the main goal of the system is ideally order it, put it on the ground, plug it in, and it goes. And of course, we're working to make it as simple as possible. So if anything, the customer would just need to screw on a couple antennas, plug it in, and maybe install the batteries as well. This is definitely something that we're working to simplify, but our goal is to have as little technical responsibility of the customer and just make it really easy.
Right. And on the same notes, when we talk about software, the whole goal is to provide that seamless user experience. So the whole idea here is you get everything off the shelf, out of the box, where you get detailed software documentations, where you can get started within a day or maybe a week with a complete system. So once you have the hardware, your box, you can just follow a small process to install the software on the edge device, and you have already taken a look at the dashboard. You can go today if you have a DJI drone or a Pixar drone. You can go online and check the documentation and get started in no time.
Thank you, Achal. I think there's another question on how can you secure the video stream, and how do you guarantee that only the issuer has the access to the feed?
Right. So we have designed the system which, as we discussed, it's scalable. So every drone has its unique vehicle ID and authentication token, where everything is end-to-end encrypted. So we use a system where you can access the video, the telemetry, the drone data, or a standard end-to-end encryption, which is AES 256. And on the cloud storage side, you can use a private cloud storage, where you can store directly the video on your private cloud. So is it with you and nobody has other access. So in terms of the access, unless you provide those credentials or access to those vehicle ID access token, nobody can get that access.
Again, thank you. So there are a few questions around precision landing. Is the do we have a ability to provide precision landing on a moving platform?
Yes, so as we discussed, yes, we do have. We have already integrated Pixar-based drones to precisely land on a moving platform. Of course, that would be a more active system. The system that we actually looked in the video only had a passive tag. In that case, you would need an active component on the ground where drone can take the live GPS location of that moving platform, get into the track and follow mode, and then land on the target. So yes, that is possible.
We have a few other questions with regards to integration. So does FlytNow platform support RFID and IoT sensor integrations? Also, can APIs be used to connect motion sensors?
Yes, so you can leverage the platform and use the APIs to integrate any kind of payload. Of course, that also depends on the drone. So if you go with a drone like a Cube Pilot or a Pixar PX4 or AutoPilot based drone, you can integrate any kind of sensors on board with the SBC. We have a complete software which goes on the onboard computer in that case and runs Linux and ROS, where you can leverage the APIs to integrate your own sensor on board. And as for the next question, yes, of course, there are APIs for onboard as well as the cloud, and these are unified APIs. So another value prop here is once you have integrated and build a software on that, these are smart and unified APIs which are agnostic to the drone. So you can easily integrate your fleet of drones into that.
Quick question, Achal, do you want to discuss about how AI can be integrated with our platform?
Right. So can you repeat the question? It is about how APIs could be integrated? AI could be integrated. Okay, great. So yep, that is the next frontier, right? So now you're flying a drone, you're collecting the data. Now you want to go to the next level of intelligence. There are solutions which are already doing it with the ground cameras. So that is where third-party integrations come into the picture, where you can use our video SDK APIs to use third-party services, where you can have your own algorithms, or there are solutions available in the market where you can tightly integrate and do, say, person detection, wildlife detection, vehicle detection, etc. So since there are already leading solutions, and we spoke about how we can leverage solutions which are existing, reliable, proven, using the APIs, the video SDK, we can do that. It can be done both on the live data as well as it can be done on the stored data on the cloud. But a quick addition to that would be, if you're looking for a very critical AI piece and want to do an edge, it can be done as well. Of course, you would have to go with a higher end software and use something like NVIDIA Jetson TX2 or of that range, where you can have onboard edge modules and AI detection modules as well.
Thank you, Achal. I think we have one last question for Kurt. We are getting a lot of questions and we'll hopefully answer them all over email. Kurt, what is the total time taken for the battery swap? If you could quickly cover that.
Sure. Well, we guarantee less than 5-minute battery swap for 99% of the use cases. However, we actually can perform the swap in much less time than this. The fastest swap we clocked was about 2 minutes 30 seconds. And so really we can keep bringing it down, especially as we continue to optimize the process and the system entirely.
I think, thank you, everyone. We've had a lot of questions to answer, and we hopefully will answer the remaining questions that are currently active. We are going to close it with a quick poll. So let me just share the poll or launch it. We're going to keep it for another 15 seconds. Yes, so we are ending the poll. And Achal, do you have any closing comments?
Okay, great. So just share my thoughts on this data. So a lot of people are looking and eyeing to do this. And yes, this has been the sentiment we're looking to deploy within the next quarter or in next 6 months, or at least they have this in the 2021 goal. To everyone, my point is, yes, we're happy to closely work with you to understand your requirements, what is required for your geography, regulations, integrations, customer clients. So feel free to reach out to us, and happy to do that. And we are glad that the 94% of the audience is very pleased with the relevant useful information. To other folks, feel free to write down to us what kind of content you would like to see from us, from the technical standpoint, from software, hardware, and we would be happy to help you. With that, I think I would ask her to share his thoughts on this.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you again for putting this together, Ashal and Vaisali. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's come. If you want to learn more about the station or reserve one, please reach out to us just at our contact at info.hextronics.tech. And we'll be happy to meet with you and understand what you all need.
Thank you, Kurt. And thank you for this session, as well as for sharing your insights, as well as your hardware. And we look forward to hosting more such webinars. And if any of you have any additional questions regarding the hardware or the software, please feel free to reach out to us at FlytNow@FlytBase.com, and we'd be happy to reach back out to you. So I think we are at the end of the webinar, and we'll be closing this. Thank you, everyone, for attending it tonight.